G'day guys. Boy do I have a race for you guys today. This was a Ferrari Fixed race at Watkins Glen without the chicane and the cup layout, and half the grid crashed out on the pace lap. So there was two guys there, and this was perhaps one of the craziest races I've done for quite some time. There was a lot of good racing involved, and there was a lot of side-by-side, sending it on each other. But there was, I think, 10 separate cars, maybe even more, involved in incidents before we even actually got a green flag underway. So obviously we had those two guys there at the first corner, spun around, don't know what happened. Up here, somebody hit the fence, and then as a consequence they began to pile up, and there was more collisions. There was 4 cars involved there, and one just completely blocked the track there, and people are now trying to make their way up into new positions, cars blipping in and out of each other. People are getting the messages to say, okay, you need to go up, you need to go into a new place. These two cars here, one of them brake checks the other. They're not driving straight, by the way. They are driving at about 45-degree angle. Just going to speed this up as we come through the carousel, and you'll notice the left-hand side of the line is pretty bare bones right now. That's because there's about 4 cars that had to tow from that line, and all the others are right behind us and catching up. There's a good 5 to 10 cars back there that just hadn't caught up yet, and others that had to tow. And as you'll see here in this footage, one goes a little bit too fast with damage and just plows into the wall, and everybody else sort of has to stop to see it happen. And you'll think we're done. Somebody spins into the pit entrance as well before we get our green. It was a crazy opening lap. Usually I wouldn't commentate over sort of a warm-up lap, but that was crazy, and I was caught off guard a little bit by the amount of accidents that happened, and I just wasn't in the right place at the start, lost a bunch of places, lost a bunch of time, and had a little moment into turn 1, nearly lost it, and nearly ended my race. But the theme of this video is just don't be an idiot, and you will gain places. So we had someone on the inside of us here through the carousel, which is why we're out so wide. I didn't take a bad line through here, just couldn't take a good one. As they go through, they get the better line, they get the better run. This was an interesting race. Now, obviously, Watkins Glen Cup is a pretty, pretty slipstream, suck-dependent sort of layout. Very fun for pack racing. If you can catch up with one another, if you can sort of get that gap, as another person gets sent into the pit lane there. 2 from 2 laps, technically 1 lap, have been sent into the pit lane in the last corner, which is quite hilarious in my eyes. But there was, as I said, a whole gaggle of us cars that were sort of battling, not necessarily all the time. I did drop off a little bit, not necessarily the fastest driver, but it was very fun to battle as we go up through the chicane here, which lost us a lot of time going side by side. I ended up in front here. The car behind me that you'll see, we were battling almost all race, just head to tail. He was behind me, I was behind him, constantly getting the slipstream on each other. Now this blue car, a little bit slow. I think they just qualified really well on the brakes here. Well, they might have even been a back marker, sorry. Yeah, they were a back marker involved in the incident. Already a blue flag car being lapped. But as you'll see here, everybody's spread out. There's a lot of track limits to be used at this track. It's very good for racing, and without the chicane, I personally enjoy it. I thought the racing was a little bit more fun without the chicane, but I understand the chicane is very good for sort of making the racing a little bit more interesting. Now, we did lose the cars behind us a little bit, and we gained on these two as they started going side by side through here. Not the best move this early in the race, it is a timed race, there is a lot of time, and if we start battling too early, we'll lose the cars in front, as it looks like they are beginning to lose the toe of that white car as well. But the good thing is, on this track, you can always catch back up. It's very easy to stay within the toe, unless if you make a mistake. These guys, they were still within about a second of the car in front, so they were able to sort of bridge that gap as we go into the fast mode for these back straights. It's a little bit chaotic elsewhere, so sometimes I do slow it down, but on the back straight there's not a lot happening. We're just in the draft. So now coming through these last 2 corners, this is where I truly felt on it. I felt like my car was just connecting really well when I was on it, Obviously I wasn't always perfect through there, but it felt like around the other cars I sort of had my strength there. That was where I was performing better than them. Turn 1 was a little bit of a problem for me. I think I was braking a little bit earlier than the other guys. But as we'll see up ahead, more crashes, more positions, and I go to the right anticipating them to be on the left. They ended up sliding off to the right, and we'll skip forward a full lap and a half here. Not a lot was happening other than us just being in the slipstream. There wasn't any positions being gained or lost. But the car ahead makes a little bit of a mistake, gets set a little bit wide, but there's nothing really big to gain here. Except they go wide through the last corner, and that is a free position for us. That is free positions, and we'll try and take that, but we didn't get a good enough run. We were sort of too focused on them making a mistake and just weren't focused on getting a good line ourselves. So once again, nothing doing. Speed through this section, because all we're doing is just catching back up in the draft. There's not really moves to be made here. But we're 4 cars 2 abreast up ahead, with 2 of us back here. It's quite good racing, very close, and here I sort of get alongside, but he gets a little bit more momentum. Was able to sneak out in front of me. Once again, that extra runoff proving really handy at a track like this. Cars once again up ahead. We're close battling, and close battling at this track is just something that I enjoy. It's one of my personal favourite tracks for battling, as the car goes wide yet again, and we're going to take this opportunity, give a lot of space just in case they make a mistake, and sweep on through as we get the better exit. There we go, finally moved up a position. Now it's about holding it and catching up to the next guys now, as they go too wide through here, which really slows you down. It really does slow you down. Thing is, I didn't gain a lot from it as much as I thought I would. Caught back up towards the back of it, but not enough to send it on for a move. And once again, we had a car on our inside here. We couldn't take the optimal line as I try and go back for the old switcheroo, as Crofty would say. But nothing doing. He gets a better exit, and once again we're behind with not exactly enough pace right now to make a move, as yet another car on the right. And once again, the theme here: don't be stupid, don't crash, and you'll make positions. Like, we weren't exactly going fast. We were at the back of the top 10, I believe, and we were making positions by just not crashing. Once again, got to move. Decide to go around to the outside here, which is, I know, a weird spot. You kind of want the inside, but we can send him to brake late, and thank you, free positions. We'll hold him to the outside here, give him enough space, but make it so that if he wants to stick to the outside there, he has to take the slowdown, and we will get the position. Skip the straight there, and this white car in front will exit stage right after a little bit of contact up ahead. Free positions once again. That was a little bit of a racing incident. Bad luck, really. But we'll take those positions. Now, the car behind us here also was getting very close once again. Go a little bit defensive, because they got a better run, but then as soon as they send it to the inside, just take the outside line again. Send it, and we get to go back through. But there was a little bit of contact. I probably should have given a little bit more space there. I did put it awfully close. Next lap, the exact same thing, and I expected the same thing to happen. I sort of sent it in a little bit deep, and he was actually able to make the corner stick, so he got the position here. Tried to send it up the inside of the first half of the uphill section, but wasn't really a good move on my behalf. He got the run through the second bit. Wasn't really able to catch up to send it into the carousel either. So just had to stick behind him for another lap, try and find my position. Once again, I felt like I was stronger through this back half of the track here. These last 2 corners in particular, that's where I felt like I was doing better. As he gets a little bit of a wobble, goes wide, able to gain a little bit and get right back on his tail again through the last corner. But I just clipped the curb stupidly and screw my momentum. If I hadn't have hit that curb, I probably could have gotten alongside him before we'd even been that far into the straight. But here he's in front. Think about a send, but there's yellow flags popping up. Not really the ideal time to do it, as 2 cars are involved in an incident there. 2 more positions. Once again, these positions are just coming to it. Now at this point, last lap, P8, this is probably where I'll get. I don't think I'll be able to make a move without a minor miracle here with a few corners left to go. And I'm actually given a minor miracle here in the form of this white Ferrari up ahead, back marker. Really slow in comparison to us, and I was doing pretty well on the tail of this car in front of me. They go defensive, presumably anticipating the back marker would take the racing line, and just ran straight in the back of him. I get the position, I take it up to P7, and he has nothing left to answer for because he lost all his pace behind that back marker. Really unfortunate that that's how the move got done, but that's a free position once again, and an easy top 10 finish, P7. We'll take those. Not the best finish, not a podium, not a win. But given that we qualified P16, we'll take those. Thank you all for watching. Catch you next time.